Good morning, professors and everyone. We're students from Ching Middle School. I'm Sum CHOW.
And I'm Ki KWAN.
It's our greatest honor to share our experience in doing the projects Power Plant Implant by Rest Deposition and participating in YHSA. Well, if you have any questions or want to share some ideas with us, you are welcome to contact us through our email. For our sharing, I would like to briefly introduce what we have done. In regard to the shortage of energy resources these days, we're trying to use plants to generate electricity. The hypothesis of our experiment is that the organic substance released by plants could be used to produce electrons by microorganisms. And after a series of experiments, it was found that increasing the amount of microorganisms in soil could improve the power generation of plants. While the larger the amount of microorganisms in soil, the higher the power generation. Well, the highest power generated by one device was about 2 volts and 40 milliampere. Also, the power generated could be used directly that a 1.8 volt LED light bulb was successfully lighted up by one device.
So you may wonder, why did we investigate this topic? In fact, when we were in Form 2, our science teacher asked our class to design our own research in groups and work on a proposal for the project. At that time, we actually had no idea. Hence, we searched for some simple experiments on the internet and saw something called potato cells. Wait, if potatoes could generate electricity, then how about plants? We thought. Though there are lots of error and misunderstanding, this was how our inspiration came from. And after working on literature reviewing and researching, we found that generating electricity by plants might be possible. So we kept going on, and here comes the Power Plant Implant project.
And it was very grateful for us to have the opportunity to participate in YHSA. But there are some challenges throughout the long time of conducting the experiment and the tough process of preparation. Well, the feasibility of the experiment was always challenged by different groups of people, including our friends and families. Yes, using plants to generate electricity was just like a far-fetched castle in the air, and it's hard to convince others that plants could be one of the energy resources to provide energy for daily life. Even we, ourselves, have once doubted and lacked self-confidence. However, when we heard the judges asked if the technology could be applied on the Christmas tree to provide energy for decorations on it by the tree itself, we were literally excited and moved that we have finally won the public's validation and interest in our project.
Also, during the composition of our research paper, not only the principle, experiments, and results are important, but also the formatting and data analysis. It's time-consuming to fit all the requirements and make the format clear enough. Take our case as an example. One of the units, millivolts per meter square, requires a lot of calculation. There are many mistakes which may appear during the process, not to mention fitting all the requirements. So we needed to review all the data and reformat the whole document before starting a new part and submitting the paper. This takes plenty of time, and that's why we were always fighting till the last minute and could strongly feel our heartbeat. Yet, it is all worth it that we have finished our own research paper that we're satisfied with.
Then, we would like to share some of our experiences. During these years, I've learned that we should never underestimate ourselves and how strong the power of persistence is. I didn't believe in myself all the time when the project had just started. Well, my first impression on doing scientific research was basically to keep reading research papers and doing more and more experiments. I really admire the scientists that their final investigation or invention that could benefit many. but I've never thought that I would be taking part in this domain one day. Textbooks was the only source of knowledge in my cognition. So I didn't actually know how scientific research could be done, and I didn't trust myself at all. When I first read a paper in Form 2, I was always doubting and wondering if I really got the ability that I found it very difficult because the length of the paper was so long for me and there were too many specific terms that I didn't know. The idea of giving up had appeared several times in my mind. But then, after I tried putting more effort, it seemed that I could understand a little bit more about the content. It's really encouraged me to delve into the topic. From then on, we had read more and more papers to get more ideas, and we found that the more we understood the papers, the more we were curious in the principle and doing experiments to prove our hypothesis and improve the setups. Later on, when there were unsatisfactory and experimental data and hurdles, like whenever we could not effectively improve the setup to increase the power generation, I would question whether the experiments are really feasible, and I would also doubt whether I'm not capable enough to think new ideas. But in fact, looking back, we have already improved a lot, especially in paper writing and presentation skills. Although there were hindrances and we felt desperate for some time, fortunately, we persevered for this research and finally we solved the bottleneck problem and even gained some unexpected results.
And for me, it was realized that sometimes cautious might turn into restrictions which limit ourselves. I'm a quite cautious person who asks for the complete planning or even a backup planning for every action. So this project is already out of my comfort zone. We haven't got a plan in the beginning or even not sure what we are chasing for. But the passion drives me to bite the bullet and keep going on. At that moment, I determined to just give it a try. There won't be any formidable consequences at all if we fail in the starting point, right? The impulsion is quite indispensable for starters. Yet, as time passed and the results were accumulating, the impulsion that we've got at the beginning starts fading away. What if we fail? What if all our toil and sweat were in vain? In that stage, we went back to the way of self-doubting and self-questioning. Despite all the supporting and proving from the research papers, theory, and data, we kept doubting whether it really works. Until one day, when the light bulb was finally lighted up by a plant, we regained our confidence and impulse. We decided to go for it, and we succeeded. And here's another point. It is such a huge world that it is literally important for us to explore every bit of it. There's lots of unanswered questions waiting for us to seek for the solution, or even many things which sound impossible are indeed possible. They just take some time. For example, I'm quite sure that most people would have thought that generating electricity by plants is just pie in the sky. But right now, we are here to tell you nothing is impossible if you never give up. We have tried several times to use the electricity generated by plants to light up a light bulb, but we failed. It was in fact quite depressing, yet we're not satisfied by the achievements then. So we worked on it and worked on it. And finally, in the last few months, we successfully lit up a 1.8-volt LED light bulb with one aloe vera. That's why we would say the only way out for all problems is to restart with another direction until there's a breakthrough. Well, if you give up just for a tiny mistake, there's no way that you could surpass all the challenges. Well, I'm afraid that we have to stop here today, but thank you for your attention.